Welcome to Chasing Impact, Not Sales, where heart meets hustle, strategy meets service, and selling feels good again. I'm your host, Mandy Minatello. Let's go. Hey, welcome to another episode of Chasing Impact, Not Sales. I'm Mandy Minatello, and I'm coming to you solo today. Uh, you know, Anyone who knows me or follows me knows that I am an avid reader. I always have a book going. My kids think it's crazy that I'm totally old school about it too. It has to be in paper, has to be a paper book, and I just love having it in my hands. I like being able to take notes. I like being able to pull it out when I am waiting for my son at football practice, or I get to an appointment early, or whenever. I don't want to waste any moments, and so I'm always reading. I'm always learning. I'm always sharpening my sword, if you will, right? And I have a few categories that I stick to, and I consider them all part of sort of my business plan, whether that's business plan for life, business plan for my sales career, business plan for, just growing as a human, right? So I'm always reading a book. They're 98% of the time personal or professional development. And so I always have, something going, either strengthening my sword as a salesperson. I want to stay on the cutting edge of what is happening in the industry. I always want to be the very best advocate for sales professionals, as well as a go-to person. What kind of a consultant would I be if I wasn't staying sharp? So I am always reading something in that aspect. I also believe in really leaning in to my God-given gifts and always living in gratitude and expectation for what God has for me. And so I'll read books in the realm of spirituality and personal growth in my walk with my Lord and Savior, right? And then I also will lean into um, some fun escapes sometimes. Sometimes that fun escape is personal development and really tapping into mindset and being the very best that I can be, either in practice or in strategy or in just utilizing every aspect of this life and squeezing all of the juice out of that lemon. And every once in a while, I'll throw in something fictional. Usually, somebody will suggest a book to me, which always open to suggestions. And if two or three people tell me I need to read it, I'll read it. Right. The problem with fiction with me is I can't put it down. So I tend to have to plan out a few days where I'm not going to get much sleep because I have got to bust through those fiction books because I just can't let the characters go. They will take over my dreams, and it's quite funny. Whereas with personal or professional development, you read that chapter, you close that chapter, and so I usually read a chapter or two a day depending on when I'm reading. But with fiction, it's like I got to set aside, laundry's not getting done. Food is going to be fend for yourself, y'all, because mom's reading a book. If you feel me, you know. Um, anyway, so all that to be said, I always have a book going. And in the realm of sales, I have actually come across this story in multiple books by multiple authors, and it has a little iteration that like changes it. It makes me think that this is probably just sales lore, but there's such value in the story and in the lesson that I was reading it, and it was about the third time that it's come up in my reading, and I was like, that's a podcast. That's a conversation that needs to be had because not everybody is living with their head in a book. And so not everybody might be thinking this way. But I wanted to share a story that is not my own. And I can't even give proper credit because I've come across it in, like I said, multiple books and multiple iterations. Um, but the message is clear. And the message is that more sales are going to be made through common ground and relationship building than any script, value stack, data points, blah, 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 right? That you could put together. And it goes back to, again, people want the perfect script. They want you just to tell them how to close this sale through tactical steps. And it just doesn't work that way. So I'm gonna give you the synopsis of this story because it's great. There was a college professor in a sales and marketing class. And as one of the first assignments of the class, he gave everybody a nominal item. Now, this is where I've read it a few different times. And in the different iterations, the item is different. In one of the stories, it was a plain old number 2 yellow pencil. You're envisioning your elementary school pencil, I hope, right? That's what we're talking about. Run of the mill pencil. In another version that I read, it was a Twizzler, piece of licorice, right? It could be anything. The point is that this item is relatively valueless, right? Like it's something inexpensive. Okay. And the assignment that the professor gives the students is that they need to sell this item. So for this, I'm just going to say this pencil, right? They need to sell this pencil for $100. In order to get an A on this assignment, they need to sell this pencil for $100. The assignment is they need to find a target audience. They need to establish that sales rapport with a potential buyer. And then they need to actually have the transaction process for $100. They got to keep the $100, but for $100 for this pencil, Twizzler, whatever, right? Pencil. And they could that was pretty much like the end of the guidelines, right? That was a whole assignment. And they had all class to do it, whether it was a semester, a quarter, I don't know, whatever. But like they had to utilize everything that they've learned through this course and, life and experience and all the things to sell this pencil for $100. Now, put yourself in the shoes of the students. These are college students wanting to succeed. Their first impression, probably their first thought is like, how in the heck am I going to do this? Because no one is going to pay $100 for a pencil. And then the smart, really data driven students rise to the top and go, okay, we just need a stellar value stack. I can envision that they're like making a deck, a slide deck with all of the value and the reasons and the whatever, why somebody needs this pencil and how this pencil is the, magic answer to everything and all the reasons why this pencil is better than every other pencil that's possibly out there or whatever. And they're adding to the value of this pencil, but really they're full of crap, right? And we know this from our experience with some salespeople, and this is what makes people feel a little smarmy, is because they're so desperate to make that sale that they're actually adding value that isn't really there. Is a yellow number 2 pencil any kind of magic? No. Is it better than like every other pencil out there? There are good and bad things, of course, but you can't add value through, being dishonest or stretching the truth. And we don't respect salespeople who do that. and it doesn't get very far. And usually people will see through it and they're not going to spend $100 on that pencil. So there goes that. So then somebody else comes forward and is like, you know what we need? We just need like a an amazing sales script, right? We just need to go in knowing what we know, presenting our, sales swag, right? If you're friends with me, I call it that. You come in with all the confidence in the world, nail a magical sales script, and you're going to kill it. And they will, respond to your energy. Now, I do feel that, right? Not the script part, the energy. The energy is going to get you far, but it's not because of the script. It's because of the relationship that is built when you have the confidence to bring a solution to a problem, right? But no script is going to bring someone to spend $100 on a pencil. It's just not going to happen. There's just no magical words. I can feed my product and value and ideal client avatar and all the things into AI, chat GPT, Claude, whatever, and tell it like, please spit out like this amazing script. And it's going to spit out something that is awesome. And you can, of course, tweak it into your own words, and then you're going to deliver it and it's going to sound amazing. And the person is still going to be like, it's still a pencil, man. And so then we have the person who is making calls to sell the pencil and comes across someone who's been in this class before. And they're like, would you like to buy this pencil for $100, whatever? And the person says, you must have Mr. So-and-so. Are you in this class? And the person says, yes, I am. And they start talking back and forth about how amazing this professor is and how he knows his stuff so well. And he teaches through this, methodology and whatever. And you're going to learn so much in that class. Really lean in. He is amazing. He's also kind of kooky, but like, oh my gosh. And they start sharing stories about this class, about this professor, about this assignment, because it turns out this professor has been doing this assignment for years. And this person that has been called this now target audience has found that common ground to talk about. And they're laughing and talking about this assignment, this professor, it turns into a conversation with the student about what do they want to do with their future, what careers are they looking into, all the things. And they establish common ground, a relationship. Go back to my 3 favorite words in sales. Neither of them are weird. They're just talking. And then it comes down to, there is this problem. The student has a problem. I need to sell this pencil for $100. They've established this relationship. And the guy says, of course, I'll give you $100. Like, give me your Venmo, Zelle, whatever. Sends the $100 and says, hey, and call me if you ever need a reference or something in the future or whatever. I'm so glad you called. Solved the problem. Had nothing to do with the value of the pencil, the value stack. Had nothing to do with any particular script. It had to do with finding common ground, developing a relationship, not being weird, presenting a problem, and solving it together. More sales are made from finding common ground, developing a relationship, having a normal person conversation with somebody, and determining if a solution is available for a particular problem. And in this case, it was, right? And I don't know if this story is true. I don't know if this class exists. I don't know if Professor so-and-so is really out there and maybe he's listening to this and is like, hey, she's talking about me. I don't know. I know that I've come across iterations of this same story, and I know that there is invaluable truth in the lessons of this story. And I wanted to share it because more sales are going to be made. Think about this particular, if it is true, right? That student who is in the middle of their education for a future in sales and business and marketing not only sold that pencil to get an A in the class, got $100 in his pocket. It's a nice date that they could take somebody out with or buy groceries. I don't know, whatever. But developed a relationship where they have that network. They built a network. At the end of the day, the guy could have been like, what a great assignment. Good luck. I'm not buying the pencil, right? Still developed the network that could open doors and turn into sale after sale after sale. Turn into sale, upsell, next level, mentorship. Could, in this particular instance, turn into job, career opportunity, and, open doors that you don't even know about because common ground was found. And none of that comes from a script. None of that comes from a slide deck, value stack, all of it. Like all of those are tools, but they aren't what make the sale. What makes the sale is being human, not weird, having a great relationship, building mindset, finding common ground, and standing in the confidence that it takes to have your sales swag. So I hope you gleaned from this story what all of the authors have hoped to bring. And at the end of the day, just find common ground and be a human. And you're going to get so far. And I love that. I love that. And hey, if you have any good book recommendations for me, let me know because I'm always looking and I'm always learning. And I'm always here to share what I learned because that's what it's all about. Thanks for listening. And as always, let's go. Thanks for listening to Chasing Impact, Not Sales. If this episode sparked something, share it, subscribe, and remember, real sales come from real service. Keep chasing impact.